So Kyle Dodd is someone that I've seen play back in the day at ASU. You can follow Kyle on Twitter at K_Dodd, DODD3. Of course, he's the ASU Sun Devil basketball analyst. But Kyle grew up in Orange County. Kyle came to ASU as a terrific player, does a great job in describing games. He joins us today from Pullman, Washington, where ASU lost last night. We'll get to that in a minute as the Sun Devil season is going on. But I'm curious, from my point of view to you, what you remember growing up as a kid when you heard the name Kobe Bryant as a young basketball player in Orange County.
Yeah, I mean, for me, growing up in Southern California, the Lakers were such a big part of my childhood. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and, my dad introduced it to me when I was 5 years old. I remember, one of my first memories was, I think I was 6, Easter Sunday, and going to watch the Lakers. And then, as that progressed, through the Showtime years, and then you got a, 17-year-old kid that's only, 4 years older than me that joins the team. And I mean, I remember where I was at, watching him shoot air balls in the playoffs against Utah, and then just watching him progress into the superstar, a couple of years later. And, I was infatuated with him as a player. I studied him as a player. And then, as I got older and I started coaching and training, I studied him, as a teacher and trying to emulate some of the stuff that he did, on the floor. And just the last, sorry, Brad, the last couple of years just as a father, and then, me being a dad with 3 little ones, trying to kind of relate to, I think it made him real, like a real person. Everybody knew Kobe the competitor, and he was a killer. He wanted to step on your throat. He would never let you above water. But then I think people, saw him as a real person when they saw him interact with his kids and coaching his kids. And it was cool. I thought that was even cooler for me as a huge Kobe fan to watch him as a dad, even more than as a player. So I think that's what's really like the tough part of the last couple of days, is just knowing that he had so much knowledge to give and that type of stuff. And I mean, I have a million stories that I pass along to my kids and kids that I coach, as far as work ethic. And I mean, I have some really good stories about, and a lot of people have heard the ones where he's getting up at 4 a.m, but just some really cool ones that, I've had personal experiences with, and just awesome.
Why is this story so emotional for you, do you think?
I just feel like, because like I said, it was such a part of my childhood. I shared it with so many friends. I shared Kobe and the Lakers with so many childhood friends, so many family members. And there's a line like in City Slickers. I don't know if you remember that movie with
Sure.
Billy Crystal, when they're sitting around a fire and they're saying, hey, when I was 18, I couldn't talk to my dad about anything, but I could always talk to him about baseball, And that's kind of like what I feel. It's like, no matter what was going on in my life, and I always had a great relationship with my parents. It wasn't that, but like if you were having issues with friends or school or family stuff or whatever, you could always talk about Kobe, and you could always talk about the Lakers. And over the last, 2-3 days, as bizarre, I mean, and as tragic as this was, I mean, I've received phone calls and connected with people that I haven't talked to since high school, and 20 years. And people knew how diehard of a Laker fan I was. They were also Laker fans, but people just checking up and saying, "Hey, man, I remember this time. I remember when you kicked a hole in the wall in college when the Pistons, Rip Hamilton and the Pistons came in and beat the Lakers." So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, just so many memories, and it's just weird to me because, I experienced Kobe on a personal level like a few times, interacted, but like never really truly like met him,
Where and when did you interact with him? Do you remember?
So I used to see him work out every morning. I was done playing, and I took a coaching job back in Southern California. I was living in Irvine, and Kobe used to train at this place called the Irvine Sports Club right off the 405 freeway by John Wayne Airport. Prestigious sports club, and I used to train there, and so he would be in there every morning with Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's old trainer, at 6 a.m. And this is one of my stories. I mean, the first time I saw him in there, I'm like, dang, he's going through a workout that would anybody else I would classify as like an off season. I'm trying to get in shape workout, like med balls, rubber bands, game jumpers, one after another. It's 6 a.m, and I'm like, and I'm watching, and he leaves, and Grover was kind of walking out, and a couple of us were like, asked him a couple questions just real quick, and I was like, man, I mean, I just realized they played Dallas tonight. Like, they played Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. Like, this is a game day. And he's like, yeah. He's like, he's nuts, dude. He's nuts. He's like, that's what makes him great. And he's like, the crazy part is, he's like, we didn't start here. We were at the UC Irvine track this morning. And I'm like, that's a game day, And I've talked to trainers. I've talked to, athletic trainers that said, there's no way this guy his knees aren't going to hold up, or he's not going to, he can't work like that. And they said he thought that was BS. He thought he could do it, and he did. And I mean, he epitomized the not wasting a moment, not wasting a day, carpe diem, seize the day, and that was what I took away and learned, from just watching him from afar.
Did you ever put anything in your game, because you were 13 when you saw this 17-year-old, as you said earlier? Did you ever try put anything in your game? Did you wear the shoes? Did you have the number? Did you do all the things that young kids do when they have a player they latch onto?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think all good basketball players or kids that are trying to be good, or, I always tell people the best way to get better is work out and train. The second best way to get better is to watch. And try to emulate. And so I think for me, it was a lot of the footwork stuff. His footwork was flawless. And who did he emulate? Michael Jordan. And that's what I tried to do, and I have 6 Kobe jerseys,
Six Kobe jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which ones? Walk me through. Yeah. Can you recite all 6 just while we're sitting here talking? What do you got?
So I have the original, just gold, number 8. I have when the Lakers introduced the Sunday whites back in the day, number 8. I have a throwback blue Minneapolis Lakers they wore a couple of times, like I think early 2000s, number 8. I have a regular gold number 24, a purple 24, and a black Kobe Knights 24.
Ever ask him for an autograph?
No, I didn't. I've never.
That's not
never
you. That's not your deal, right?
I mean, I would have, but I mean, just like it was never the right time, if I had a chance to interact with him on more than just hey, hello, hey, what's up, Kobe, I never really met him, shook his hand, anything like that,
When you're in Southern California with Kobe Bryant growing up, were kids in your class emulating him, or were they still in Magic or Michael? Because you know what I mean by this, right? There was the Magic. Yeah. There was the Magic Bird, then it was Michael, then it was Kobe with Iverson and that whole group, Duncan, that whole group that came in together. In Southern California, were they still Magic, or were they Kobe? Were they divided?
I think early on in our childhood, obviously, it was all, for me, it was all Magic, I mean, that was my favorite player, It would be a tie, even to this day, Magic and Kobe. And Magic, made me love basketball. And then then as kids, we saw MJ come in, and at first I was like, man, who's this bird dude trying to take Magic's thunder, and then as you get in your teenage years, you're like, oh, wait, like, that's the guy, like, and then, just him with the dunks so then it was Jordan, and I think that's, and then when we were getting into high school is when you saw Kobe emerge, and so it that was the way, or at least for me, it was, it was Magic first, and then Jordan, and then Kobe.
In the world of training, we're talking with Kyle Dodd, ASU basketball analyst. He's in Pullman today. ASU played last night. They ended up on the short end of the stick. We're talking about Kyle growing up in Southern California and the Kobe Bryant tragedy. His daughter, you're in the training world too, at least you have been.
Yeah.
I had heard about her. I had never seen her. I've seen some clips of her at Powerhouse. I've never seen her in person. I've seen clips of her over
Yeah.
at Powerhouse working out. Did you ever see her play and the interaction with Kobe and daughter?
I did not, other than just, the stuff on Twitter and just, I mean, not just the stuff over the last couple of days, just, like I was fascinated by that relationship over the last couple of years. And, we've all seen the videos of him courtside, especially the last couple of days because they've been all over the place. But I just thought that was so cool because that's where I'm at with my kid. My oldest son is 12 and he's my best little friend. He does everything I do. We do, I coach his baseball team and stuff. And then I have a 9-year-old boy that is, really taking off in gymnastics, and my 6-year-old daughter is doing gymnastics. But I'm fascinated by that. Like, and I think that's where it like hits home and I think that's why it's hard for so many people that weren't even Lakers fans. It's just, you relate to this guy on a different level than basketball. So I think that's the tough part for me, and just knowing how hard he worked. And then you see all these stories that have emerged that, all these things that are, for years. It's like Lou Williams, I think, said last night, he's like, I knew his trick. He tried to make everybody think he was a jerk, and then he's doing all these things behind the scenes. He just didn't want anything, out in the public or whatever. But for all accounts, it seems like, obviously he didn't live a perfect life. He, got himself into some trouble and made some mistakes. But I think we'd all agree that, he became, better for it and blossomed into a great father.
Have you talked to your kids about what happened on Sunday?
Yeah, I did.
How do you handle talking to your kids on that topic and not get emotional because this is one that really impacted you? Or was it you showing the emotion to your kids and explaining, this is why I have tears right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the tough part, and I was pretty strong initially in talking to him about it, and especially my oldest one, because he's kind of like my mini-me in the sense that, we literally sit there and watch old Kobe games on YouTube, or we'll watch the fourth quarter of, the Lakers-Dallas, and, the Lakers are down 28 in a regular season game, and they come back, and, Kobe was a huge part of it, or I'm not lying, we recently just watched the 60-point game that they replayed, the other night, but we recently just watched that, and we watched that live, but they were younger, like,
You and your 12-year-old are sitting there watching Kobe games together. That's the impact that he had on you.
Yes, because, I mean, for him right now, I've passed along my love for the Lakers, but for him right now, it's AD and LeBron, and those are his guys,
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to show him, hey, man, you think AD is long and dominant? Look at this guy, Shaquille O'Neal, okay? And I love LeBron, and LeBron may be, in a league of his own, but let me show you where, what I grew up watching. And so I think that was the tough part. So I was pretty strong talking to them initially, but they could, all three of my kids could visibly see I was upset, and they made me a purple and gold bracelet and so they came over, and my little 6-year-old daughter just said, Dad, I'm sorry you're sad. And I was like, and I lost it, and I was just, then I, tried to explain. I said, guys, this is something that I grew up with, Papa and Grandma, we'd come home from school. We couldn't wait for the Lakers to play. And, and I'm trying to share that with you guys. And I have videos of him in his last game and all three of my kids, in Kobe jerseys. And I took video because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. They were all younger at the time, but they were all on video sending the message like, I love you, Kobe Bryant, and
wow.
So I mean, that just, it was, it's weird, it's definitely surreal. And I mean, even it's been 4 or 5 days, and I still, like, the first thing I woke up this morning, I'm like, dang, so.
You're in Pullman, Washington today. Their first game is tomorrow night against Portland. You're going to be in Seattle, I'm assuming, tomorrow night with the Sun Devils.
Yeah.
You're going to go try to find a place to watch?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, that's going to be a powerful game. And I think what the NBA has done over the last couple of days with the tributes, and I think it's, you know, like in a weird time in this, in this country, you would never say that you needed this, because it's obviously, and like, well, I'm talking about, I mean, obviously the 9 losses are, you know, heartbreaking, all of them,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and nobody needed this, but it has been amazing to see people, especially in Phoenix. I mean, like, people hate me because I'm a Laker fan. Like, I mean, not hate me, but like, I remember, you know, friends that just could not stand the Lakers or Kobe, and just to see people in Phoenix area.
I told
You know.
Eric this week that, and I'll let you go off a couple more minutes, but I told Eric this week, I said, the guy that I want to talk to is Raja Bell. That's the
Yeah.
guy I want to talk to. And as a Laker
Yeah.
fan, I think you can appreciate the reason why. It wasn't just the clothesline. Yeah. It's either Raja, Amari, or Nash, but Raja in particular because of the clothesline.
Yeah.
That's the tide of Phoenix.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's 100%. And well, you said Amari. I mean, that's one of my best Kobe stories. Amari Stoudemire was running a camp in Arizona Premier, which I moved out here to help run once Russ Pennell left. It was a training facility in Mesa, and we were running training, and Amari Stoudemire did one of his Nike camps there. That was like one of the 5 Nike camps, when it was like Amari, Darren Williams, Chris Paul, you know, I think LeBron had one, and then they had one big Nike one, and a bunch of kids, and we were just watching. We weren't like training. They had other people come in, and the kids got a question and answer with Amari, and the first question they asked was, Kobe or LeBron, who's better, you know? And Amari's like, well, I'm not going to get into this debate about who's better, but he's like, you know, and I could barely hear him. I was in the office, and I was trying to like hear this, because I'm like, oh, I want to hear it. And something along the lines of, I'm not, you know, it's no secret that we all had career years this year. And when he said, you know, by all, he meant Darren Williams, Chris Paul, Amari Stoudemire, LeBron, Carmelo, you know, D-Wade. And he's like, and what I mean by that is we just spent the entire summer at USA Basketball with Kobe Bryant. And we thought we knew how to work, but we didn't, you know. And we thought we were working hard, but we weren't. And he told a story about trying to lift weights. They were practicing at 9, I think, or something like this. And if the details aren't right, I apologize, but something along the lines of they were practicing at 9, and he was going to go lift at 6, just one random morning. It's like, I'm going to get a lift in. So he walks in the facility, sees Kobe in there, and he's like, oh, sweet, you know, Kobe's going to lift too. And he goes over, he's like, you going to lift? You know, are you getting ready to lift? And Kobe said, no, I just got done. So Amari's like, wow, like, dude got in here at 5, you know? So Amari, you know, in his head, he's like, all right, well, I guess I got to lift at 5 if I want to lift with Kobe. So next day, Amari gets up and goes in there and to get up at 5, and the door swings open and Kobe's walking out, and he said, we could do this all week. You know, like, you're not beating me in here. And
that's a great story.
And you know, and like I said, I don't know if the exact details of that are right. I was, like I said, I was listening through an office, but I was asking one of the trainers. I was like, "Is that what Toddy said?" You know, and they're like, "Yeah." I mean, whatever the times were, whatever, it was just basically Kobe knew in his head that Amari was doing that, and he was, you know, I'm not going to let you outwork me. But and then apparently he went and said, "You can live with me, but it's not just going to be one day. You know, it's not going to be here or there. Like, you need to commit to this all summer, you know?"
That's awesome. That's a great story. I'm going to let you go off that. And, you know, in terms of the basketball team with ASU, we can talk about that another day, but I wanted to have you on to talk because I know how passionate you've been. I appreciate you working through it a couple times during the last 15, 20 minutes with your emotions. And thanks again, Kyle. Safe travels.
Thanks, Brad. Anytime, man. Love you guys.
Take care. There's Kyle Dodd. It's not about ASU losing at the buzzer to Washington State and Pullman. Who cares? I mean, it's one game in January. We are, as always, online at sports360az.com. Devin Henry is our chairman of the board. He did not screw up today. Eric Sorensen is our senior executive vice president of nothing or everything, depending on the day. Make sure you head over to the website and check out our content at sports360az.com. Have a great day.